Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss Season 2 of Netflix's original series, The Umbrella Academy. This is based off of the best-selling graphic novel series written by Gerard Way and his partner, whose name I don't remember. This takes off exactly where Season 1 ended. So Season 1 came out in 2018. Season 2 just premiered end of July 2020, about a month ago, give or take, when I'm recording this. And again, as I said in the first review, I didn't see the first one when it came out in 2018. So for me to binge season 1 and 2 intermittently in between my different work schedules and such, I loved watching it as one continuous story. It would have driven me nuts if I waited 2 years to watch, season 2. So I apologize to everyone who had watched season 1 when it came out. This season was incredible. So at the end of season 1, Vanya breaks the moon apart with her rays of light. I don't know if they actually give it a name. And Five thinks he can just time travel all of them away because they now know how the apocalypse starts in 2019, on April 1st, 2019. So because they now know how it starts, he's like, okay, well, it's going to be a little sketchy, but I think we can go back a bit so that way we can prevent it. So he inadvertently then sends them all back, and then this is where season 2 comes. Sends them all back to the 1960s, but specifically in Dallas, Texas. So the Umbrella Academy is in what's called the city. I had to look this up. It's not a specific city, it's just called the city, but it's up north. And then Dallas, Texas is obviously in Texas. So one sibling gets shot out in 1961 in an alley in Dallas, Texas. Another one gets shot out in 1962 in an alley in Dallas, Texas. They all get shot out at various times, between 60, 61, 62, and then 5 pops out at 63, right after JFK was shot, and on November 22nd, 1963. That's like the date that the season 2 revolves around. And then 5 flashes a little bit and sees another apocalypse, but this time it's caused from the Russians. So it's a matter of, why is there an actual nuclear doomsday taking place November of 1963 in this new timeline? So everyone, we get little half episodes of everyone living their life in the 60s in 1963, 1962, 1961, and 1960. So it's very interesting. And then eventually they all converge in 1963 when 5 finally comes back and everyone tries to formulate a plan to figure out how the new apocalypse is starting. And it's pretty interesting. So Vanya, when she comes out, she gets hit by a car, and then she winds up being a nanny for the family that hit her by the car. And then she winds up hooking up with the mom at some point. It was very entertaining because it was completely random. So I thought it was funny. But it was a good aspect. Luther winds up fighting and being a bodyguard at Jack, I forget his last name, the guy who killed Oswald, who shot JFK. We'll put air quotes around that. So then you have Diego. He's in a mental institution with this girl Lila, who's a new character, who's incredible. We get a lot of her story thrown into throughout the series, and then at the end as well. Allison gets thrown out, and then because she's of African descent, she is not allowed to go into white establishments. So there's a lot of racial discrimination. Oh, it was terrifying watching all of that disgusting hatred that just putrid, because it still happens today, and it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting to think that you're better than someone because of the color of your skin. Horrifying. Low life, unintelligent troglodytes. Homo erectus discovering their opposable thumbs. Let's put it that way. So 5 is my favorite character, hands down. Aidan Gallagher plays an incredible 5. A 58-year-old man trapped in a 13-year-old boy's body, hysterical. But my favorite scenes, like I said in the first one, is those that involve Klaus and Ben. Klaus and Ben, being brother and then ghost brother, learn how Ben can technically possess Klaus to, talk to this girl he likes, because Klaus inadvertently becomes this guru prophet and leads this cult, but he doesn't call it a cult, so it's kind of entertaining. The other thing, I'm saying, all the Klaus scenes just really tore at my heart. Klaus tries to stop Dave, the love of his life, who he died alongside in Vietnam with, who died in Vietnam. Klaus didn't die in Vietnam. Klaus escaped back to 2019 with the memories of 1968. But he finds teenage Dave working at a hardware store in Dallas not Dallas, San Francisco, Dallas, and tries to convince him not to enlist in the military. It was so heartbreaking watching those scenes play out in the restaurant and then at Klaus's mansion in general. Poor Dave, rest in peace. But it just brought up the heartstrings for Klaus. And then Ben, for instance, having his death backstory, but not fully knowing still how he died. But the moment after the funeral where Klaus brings him back, and then he tells Klaus, it turns out that he actually was afraid to go to heaven. He didn't want to, but he kind of lied to Klaus. So then Klaus said he could stick around, kind of a thing. It was interesting. It was very interesting. But then Ben is the one who saves Vanya, who again causes the apocalypse again, by possessing her, calming her down, and then he eventually disintegrates, goes to heaven, and he whispers to Vanya that he was afraid of the light, to tell Klaus that, to thank him for the time. Man, I got teary-eyed so many times, but yeah, Aiden's performance was just incredible, absolutely incredible. So they all eventually fight off against the handler. The hysterical meme that it is, I took a bullet for this company, and we thank you for your service. That was in the episode 1 of season 2, something like that. Hysterical. AJ is the fish. The board member massacre, hysterical. Again, straight Kingsman vibes on that. It was great. And yeah, so the massive battle at the end was pretty epic. We learned that Lila was also born on October 1st, 1989, just like all the other siblings. And the handler actually took her for herself, whereas Reginald Hargraves, he bought the 7 siblings for his own experiments of the Umbrella Academy. But we knew that other siblings were born. It's just a matter of who has what other powers. So Lila can mirror any power that anybody else is doing. Terrifying. Yeah, so we see Reggie Hargraves throughout most of this. We see a young Pogo throughout this. We see a younger mom, whose name is Grace, throughout this. We see Reggie's involvement in him being an alien, but also, the 12 group, whatever the hell they were called, who assassinated JFK. There's a lot of backstory, a lot of who did what when, and who said what to this person and why, and it's great. So at the very end, they eventually get another briefcase, time travel back to 2019, April 2nd, 2019, the day after the apocalypse. So they saved the world. But the Umbrella Academy is not the Umbrella Academy anymore. And the picture of 5 above the mantle is now Ben above the mantle. Reggie Hargraves comes in. He says, "What are you all doing here? I knew you eventually would come here." But then they say, "What are you talking about? This is our home." And he's like, "This is not your home. We're not a family." And then Allison goes, "But this isn't the Umbrella Academy." And he's like, "No, this is the Sparrow Academy." And then all of a sudden the camera pans and you see 6 silhouettes of 6 other kids up there. And then Ben, alive Ben, comes out and says, "Dad, who are these people?" Cut. On to season 3. I'm so excited. Whenever this is filmed and made, I cannot wait. Bravo to everyone involved. On the edge of my seat the entire time. I did not know I'd be emotionally invested in such a kitschy comic book type of superhero film. But having Backstreet's Back by the Backstreet Boys play during a fight scene, I almost peed my pants. Peed my pants. Hysterical. Thank you all. We are done talking about the Umbrella Academy for the time being. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I know I will love it as many more times as I see it. And to that we say, Mucho mahalo.